Meet Rodney. Rodney had a business teaching accordion lessons to Stanley. However, Stanley was his only student. But when Rodney got QuickBooks, he could organize his accounts and instantly see how much profit he was making. And so Rodney discovered he had a little extra cash to spend on marketing, which grew his business from this to this. Way to grow, Rodney. Know where you stand instantly. Visit QuickBooks.ca.
Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. This is Lori Smith. This is One Child Abuse Survivor to Another Restoration, and glad to be here. 7 o'clock in the morning. It's April 21st, Friday morning, and just hoping you're doing well. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I appreciate everybody who's taken the time to listen to my shows, and I do a lot of broadcasting and different things, different video type things and whatnot. So thanks for taking the time to listen to what I have to say. And this show, hopefully it'll help, somebody out there. I know that this is helpful for me, just looking at a morning reflection, really. How am I doing in my healing journey? How am I making progress? Sort of keeps me on track to keep going on my healing journey instead of just putting it off. And so we're looking at like morning reflection, positive reinforcement, coping mechanisms, It's just a half an hour show, so there's not a lot of time, but mainly focusing on a website that I found, hovoka.org. And so we'll pick up where we left off there. If you're a survivor of abuse, you want to make sure that you're far enough along in your healing journey to be listening to this. Do a safety check. If you're not sure, how to know whether you're safe enough to listen or not, you need to get that information. Because you need to make sure that, listening to something like this, anything like this from anybody, isn't going to trigger you and cause you to go backward in your healing journey or cause you to have difficulties and want to self-injure, self-harm type thing. You want to be careful. Do a safety checklist. If you're not sure, you can get that information from hovoka.org, or you can grab it from lots of different websites, but that's one. Also, ASCA, Adult Survivors of Child Abuse, they have a Survivor to Thriver manual, and you can grab that. It's free. It's online. You can read it online. You can download the PDF, whatever you want to do. Get that information. It's 60 pages long. It's really worth reading, taking a look at. And make sure that you are safe enough. And if you're not sure, just turn the show off because you won't be hurting my feelings at all. I'd rather you do that than, be triggered and then have to deal with that, right? So if you're a survivor of abuse and you're not sure if you're safe enough or even how to do the safety checklist, don't listen to this show or anything like this until you actually get the information and can make sure that you are safe enough, right? So, we'll get right into this. We're looking at morning reflection, really. How am I doing on my healing journey? We can ask this, we can ask ourselves this question. How are we doing on our healing journey? Any particular things that I need to work on? How am I feeling? Pretty good. I had a good week. It's been a good week. Since Monday doing the last show. Still dealing with some flashbacks and some, very uncomfortable memories. Working through them, allowing myself to experience it and not shove it down into a drawer and push it away. I'm just kind of allowing myself to sort of deal with some things when I have some spare time. And just focusing on moving forward always a little bit, all the time. I want to call them baby steps, really. I mean, it's kind of what I'm doing. Obviously, I've been working on my healing journey for a long time here. Just small steps, and focusing on taking care of myself, taking care of things that need to be done around me. My husband's terminally ill, so I'm extremely busy helping to try to help him out, but I still have to work on myself too. And so it's always a very slow process for me, maybe not as slow for others, but that's the thing. We're all different. We all need different things. We're all in different places, and we've all been through different things. So we just share that commonality of being abused. If we were abused as children, that's what I'm dealing with here, looking at, one child abuse survivor to another restoration, right? So this morning I'm doing pretty good. I think I'm feeling pretty positive. Glad it's the weekend coming up. And I'm hoping to do some work, if I have some time this weekend, put in some time and do some inner child healing work. So that's my plan. And we're going to look at this Adult Survivors of Sexual Abuse. It's an acronym put out by hovoka.org. I did pop the link into the chat room if you want to check that out. If you are logged in, you can actually go to the chat room and sit there, and there's a link there, hovoka.org, HAVOCA.org, Hovoka. Help. Helping abuse Havoka. I'm just going to scroll down here. Helping abuse victims of child abuse or something like that. But anyway, this is an acronym that a lady named Cheryl has here, and she's got a little blurb written out for each of the letters of adult survivors of sexual abuse. We're on letter U in the word sexual. U. So she says here, use words to help you heal. Write your thoughts and feelings. Fill empty pages with hopes and dreams. Journal daily. Bring life to a book you can call your own. Words are powerful. They're messages instilled in the minds of those who read them. Words can heal. They bring solace, comfort, and inner peace. They can enrich your life, forever changing who you are, who you want to become. So use words to help you heal. Write your thoughts and feelings. Fill empty pages with hopes and dreams. Journal daily. That's interesting. That's very much true for me. I don't know about other people. I've had other survivors of abuse, through the years tell me that they find that art therapy really works better for them rather than writing. They like to use some sort of art, sort of medium, like whether it's working with with painting or drawing, sketching, or with their hands, like with clay, that type of thing, or just any number of things. So, glass work, whatever. Some people just, everybody's different, right? So not everybody would want to write their thoughts and feelings or, to journal daily, right? I actually don't journal all the time. I used to do more journaling. But when I need to write, I write. And I do write a lot. You can go to my Born in Hell website. I've written quite a few poems and just different things, just writings, just allowing my shame to be put out there openly for the world to see. My pain and my shame. Because I wanted people to see the damage done. And so I use words to do that. And so other people use other different mediums. They'll use art or they'll use something else. So everybody's different. Not everybody would want to write to heal, right? But that's what I've done, and it has helped me a lot because it allowed my inner voice from so long ago being abused as a child. Because I wasn't allowed to say anything or speak anything because I was abused as a child, obviously, right? I wasn't allowed to have my opinion or my say or express my pain in any way growing up in that abusive house, and that's my siblings didn't either. None of us were able to do that. So I find writing and whatnot and expressing my pain is very helpful for me because it allows that inner person that I was so long ago to get that pain out instead of just having it stuck inside. It's out, and it's I'm glad that it's out, and I want other people to know because that's my it's kind of like I suppose it's probably the feeling when a child is rescued out of an abusive home or an abusive situation where somebody comes and rescues them and then gets them some help. That's my adult way of dealing with that. To let the world see my pain, and that way my inner children really are rescued. Because then I'm not carrying that burden and that silence by myself anymore. But some people would rather do that, privately with a counselor or therapist, and that's completely okay. It's a matter of what you need to do, like what is best for you. I think that's, she's just putting out suggestions here, this lady Cheryl from Havoka, but we're all different. We all have different ways of dealing with things, and we all have different needs. And so I would say, it's best for you to search out what would work best for you. I know a lot of people just prefer one-on-one counseling because that's what they need. They don't want the world to know what happened to them. They don't want anybody else to know for whatever reason, and that's okay, right? There's nothing wrong with that, and there's also nothing wrong with what I've done, which is to go to the world with my pain instead of going to a counselor or therapist. I wanted the world to know. Because I don't trust one-on-one. So because I was abused by both my parents, and growing up in that, I didn't have 1 or 2 years of abuse, and the rest was all great. And I was born into this abusive household, and I was abused from birth, right? So I don't trust people. I don't trust one-on-one anything, and so I went to the world with my stuff because I'm like, there's safety in numbers. I'm gonna tell the world what happened. And that's my way of dealing with it. But not everybody can do that or would want to. So I would say if words don't help you, to heal, and just writing a journal doesn't seem to be the thing to do, there's other things you can do to heal. And if you look around on websites, like especially Child Abuse Survivor Monument, Michael C. Irving, he's got a great website there with all kinds of interesting information for survivors of abuse on what they could do, what I could do, what you could do, what anybody can do to express what we need to express. It doesn't have to be written thoughts or feelings, right? You could do lots of different things, right? And so, but she's just used that that's just her little blurb about use words to help you heal. So that's cool. So we'll move on from there. And wanted to look at, we're looking at the very last little section of this inner child healing page. Make peace with your inner child. This is help for adult victims of child abuse. Havoka, this is information for survivors under the Survivor tab. And if you look on the left-hand side of the column, if you go to that website, there's inner child information there. And that's where I got this. Making peace with your inner child. So we already read through most of it. She was talking about doing the inner child work where, you'd kind of go into like a meditation and go in and actually sit with our inner children, if you have more than one, I do, or just our inner child. Not everybody's got more than one. I thought I only had one, but I have actually many, many, many inner children. And these are the wounded parts of myself and where I was wounded. And so they're not separate personalities, really. It's just trauma, sort of suffering trauma as a child. That's where all these wounded parts of myself were stuck in these trauma, I want to call them episodes. Absolutely horrific. And so I've gone in and I've done a lot of inner child healing work over the last few years anyway. And so this is how she sort of describes like how a person could do this. You can have a dialogue with your little child. We were looking at this on Monday. While reflecting on your past, begin speaking to your little child with observations and thoughts that come to your mind. Acknowledge to your little one how helpful they've been in running your life. But now that we're the adult, I'm just going to ad-lib here. We need to make the decisions, right? And to allow ourselves to cry if we need to, whatever emotions that we may need to process. That's why inner child healing work is not good to do on your own unless you're absolutely positive you're safe enough to do it. I knew that I was okay to do the inner child work. I knew that I wasn't going to hurt myself or go hurt somebody else or, self-injure or anything like that. I knew I was going to be safe enough to do it. But if you're not sure, I wouldn't even attempt the inner child healing work on your own unless you are positive that it's not going to cause you to have difficulties and maybe self-injure, self-harm, or hurt somebody else, right? Because that's intense work going into these wounded parts of ourselves and actually communicating with who we were at the time of the abuse, and it's difficult because I can remember. I was abused from birth, but I remember most of my memories are very cognitive from 4 on. And so I can remember myself at 4 years old, 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old, and what was going on around me, 8 years old, 9, 10, 11, and all the way up. So my memories are very clear and precise. And so it's difficult to look at this stuff and to talk to these wounded inner parts of myself, And I find, I can do it without any problems of self-injury or whatnot, but others, you want to make sure that you're safe enough before you do something like that. So they go on to say, when you feel you have completed the communications, allow yourself to embrace with your little child with love and a warm, melting hug. I don't know who wrote this, but whoever it is, I'm not sure, but it's very sensitive, so it might be a woman writing that. I don't know. Some guys are very sensitive too. Let the child know that you are going to go on your separate way at this time. Explain to them that you will always be there for them. See your child playfully leave this peaceful scene you have created. Allow yourself to be still, contemplating all that has transpired. When you're ready to gently come back into the real world, bringing all the awareness and knowledge you've gained from the exercise. Take time to write as much as you can remember. This is a wonderful process that you can do over and over again. And each time you will find more patterns and beliefs that you will become aware of. Awareness is 90% of changing and healing. Be gentle and nurturing to yourself. So that's interesting the way she has it set up there. I know the one that I did, the inner child healing program that I used was really awesome, and I always promote it because it really helped me out. Your Envisioned Mind. And it's out of Australia, a lady named Beverly Searle, Searle, Your Envisioned Mind. It used to be called Forget Talking Therapy. And that program helped me out a lot. I actually had a friend of mine who helped design that program, Kate Mitchell, who used to be a certified like psychotherapist. Um, Beverly Searle is also some type of certified psychoanalyst. Anyway, they work with survivors of abuse, and they've worked with survivors of abuse for years and years. And so they know they've dealt with so many horrific cases of abuse, and so not just child abuse and other things too, traumatic life experiences, right? And so this program was just awesome. Like, it really helped me out. A little different than what this lady's written here on Havoka, or whoever wrote this stuff on Havoka, the program. But the program really helped me out, and it's still helping me today. I need to go in and do some inner child healing work, but the actual program helped me to be able to set this thing up so that I can actually go in and do this work in a consistent manner. And so therefore, my inner children are safe. And I think what's really bizarre about that is I never felt safe as a child because I wasn't safe as a child. Being abused, physically, sexually, being verbally assaulted, emotionally battered, psychologically abused. My life was threatened many, many times, not just by my parents, but by stranger danger type stuff. And my life was not safe. It was not a safe for me at any time. I didn't have anybody to go to for safety except for a couple of neighbors. And so this inner child healing work, it provided a safe place for my inner children, which is just a safe place within myself, knowing that they're okay, I'm okay. It's really quite interesting how it works. I don't really know the whole dynamics of it, but I did do the program, and it really has helped me out. So, but I would make sure, if you're not sure that you're safe enough to do inner child healing work, don't do it on your own. Have somebody who's kind of trained, who knows how to do this stuff, who can be the other person to help you to do that work, to make sure that you're actually safe enough to do it, that you're okay to do it, right? So that's the end of that particular section on Havoka, the end of the inner child healing work. So we'll move on from there. Positive reinforcement. What are we doing right in our daily walk? Looking at positives and progress instead of negative thoughts all the time. That's why I wanted to do that, because it's so easy to get down on. I know for myself, it's easier for me to get down on myself and get really hard on myself because things aren't getting done. And I should have done that, and I should have been able to do this. And it's, there's only so many hours in the day. And so I thought, well, I'm going to start doing some positive reinforcement instead of just being negative all the time. I do need to get things done, but I need to stop being so hard on myself. And, what am I doing right in my daily walk? What am I doing right? Looking at the positives and progress instead of looking at just the negatives, It's too easy to do that negative side, right? We should do some positive, inflection as well, right? Because we like everybody else deserve that. So what am I doing right in my daily work? Well, this week I actually accomplished a lot that I needed to do. I did, I get up, do what I need to do. I've been taking care of myself, been eating right, trying to get lots of rest. Actually, I'm trying to work on the rest thing so that I don't get overtaxed with what I'm doing. And rest is a big issue for me because I don't sleep well, and I don't want to use any kind of sleep aids, and I really don't trust herbal stuff because I have some health issues that I don't really like the way that it makes me feel. And so what I'm trying to do is just go to bed at a decent time and not drink coffee too late at night and just try to take care of myself, So I'm working on that, and I'm kind of happy. That's a positive. And as far as the healing child, the inner child work, I'm going to be doing some more of that. So that's kind of that's a step in the right direction. Looking at the positives, what am I doing right? Well, and I'm actually working on not being too hard on myself and trying to realize that, I'm doing good for where I've been. And I just hit the age of 51. I never thought I'd live to be this age. My husband's terminally ill, and I just cherish every precious moment I have with him. He's everything to me as far as, on this world can be, right? This man has helped me to get through a lot, and he supports me in every way. And so, I cherish my time with him. In the meantime, it can't be all about him because it has to be about me too. And so that's a step in the, that's a positive. That's something I can be happy that I'm doing is just making time for myself as well. to do this work that I need to do instead of just putting it off and just solely concentrating on others or whatever, going on around me, work or whatever it may be, right? So that's a step in the right direction. So lots of positive things going on, and I can do better for sure, but I know that at least I'm trying, and I got up and I'm getting up every morning and trying to take care of myself, trying to eat healthier, trying to get more exercise. Summer's on the way, and I hope to be in better shape for the summer to be able to do stuff with my husband because, he's very sick. We never know how long he's got, so we never know how long anybody's got. So, just try to enjoy the moment, the day, the time. So even though I'm having trouble with flashbacks and whatnot and having some difficulties with things, memories, calendar dates rolling around here, this week actually coming up. And what am I going to do to bolster myself for that? Well, I'm going to be very good and kind to myself, and I'm not going to stress over the fact that I'm having these issues because this is part of my healing journey. What I am going to do, I think, is read some of my John Bradshaw's book and the Robert Burney, Codependence, The Dance of Wounded Souls. I think I'm just going to read through some chapters in those books this week just to help bolster me up for these calendar dates and memories, these flashbacks that I'm having. And that's a step in the right direction. So, we can always think of, we can always be hard on ourselves about what we're not doing or what's not happening in our lives that we want to be happening right now. But we can also do some positive reinforcement and say, what am I doing right? And look at the positives. So that's about all I have for that one today. It's important to do that, I think. This positive affirmation page is from heartswithsoul.com, heartswithsoul.com/child_abuse.htm. They have a bunch of positive affirmations, which I thought were really awesome. But that's the only thing that's on that website, which I think is bizarre. But that's where I got this from. And this next one we're looking at is I am learning to express my love. The last one we looked at was I am a resourceful person. This next one is I am learning to express my love. And I could run around saying that all day, but as far as a positive affirmation goes, I am learning to express my love. But am I really learning to express my love? Well, I guess it's just a slow process. Absolutely I'm learning to express my love. I've never had a problem with expressing my love. My problem is that if it's not reciprocated, because I was rejected and abused as a child, I have a real problem with rejection. And so I have to really trust somebody very, very much before I'm able to express my love to anybody. And actually, I'm very nice to people, but on a superficial level. I mean, I'm friendly with everybody. I'm just a friendly person. I was even as a child. And I kind of grew into like a hateful, child later. But I remember starting out very much a friendly, lovable child, and then slowly just the abuse and the years and years and years of abuse, and just kind of, sort of got to me, and I just hardened my heart and sort of turned into one of those types, sort of a bully, protect myself, I'll just put a shell around me, and that way nobody can get in, and I did all that. So, but that shell is cracked, it's pretty well gone, and I'm back the way that I should be, which is able to express love and care towards other people and myself. And so I could say I am learning to express my love. I actually am. I'm learning to express my love. I still have to be very careful because I'm very vulnerable because I was abused as a child, I want those relationships, right? Those loving relationships. And you got to be careful getting into relationships with people because people can hurt you just like I can hurt somebody else. And I tend to do that because the minute I think someone is not looking out for my needs and they're only looking out for their own, they're out of my life. Because I've had enough of that. I'm done with that. I'm not going to be re-victimized. I refuse to allow people to treat me disrespectfully in my life. It's just my personal decree that I made to myself is, I was abused as a child physically until the age of 17 by my mother and dad, and by my monster parents, and sexually abused from 8 to 9, and then treated horribly by my siblings because they were abused and they were psychologically ill as well and screwed up. And some physical abuse from them as well, but mainly just a lot of emotional, psychological garbage. And so, I don't allow people to treat me like garbage anymore, So in a friendship or in any type of relationship, if I feel that my needs are being completely disregarded and the other person just has me around to make them feel better about themselves, because I am a really nice person and I love to make people feel better around me. And I'll say nice things that I actually mean from my heart to them and try to bolster them up, because that's what I need, But if I feel that they just have me around to be that for them, they're gone out of my life completely, because I have needs too. And if they're not going to be the reciprocating, in it's not a one-way relationship. I don't do one-way relationships anymore. My relationship with my parents was one way. I loved my parents. They hated me. So, I'm done with the one-way relationship. If my needs are not being met as well as me helping to meet their needs, if it's not a mutual love and care situation, they're out of my life really quickly. So I don't maintain friendships very well, because I find that most people are really basically in it for what they can get. And I've noticed that for many years now that I've actually been on my healing journey and learned all the codependency, what to look for, and how to set proper boundaries. See, and so my boundaries, I'm actually really good at boundary work and also codependency work. Most people don't know what codependency is. If you ask them, they might have a vague answer, a vague idea. But I studied it and studied it and studied it. What is it? Because I grew up in a codependent home, in a codependent family. So I needed to learn what it was so that I could not allow that to happen and not allow myself to be re-victimized in relationships, whether it's friendships, or even with my husband, right? And so it's hard for me to get into relationships with people because they don't understand it, and they're more than happy to take advantage. And I'm like, no, sorry. I just came from the pits of hell, and I'm not going back there. So I actually, don't have a lot of friends and don't make friendships, but I do love to express my love to people that actually deserve it, And so I have learned how to express my love, and I think my husband was a big part of that, because he allowed me to love him, and I allowed him to love me. I mean, we're talking this love that you have in your heart for somebody, that you care about them, you want the best for them, you want to make, to be that person in their life that helps them to get through whatever it is they need to get through, to be there with them through the thick and the thin, To me, that's what a real friend is. And so I haven't found really all that many people that are willing to do that for me. You know what I mean? So I then shut them off and shut them down, right? And then walk away from the situation. But that's okay, because I have to protect myself. I don't have to be re-victimized. It's very, very important to not allow yourself to be re-victimized. Absolutely. You got to be careful as a survivor of abuse, because there's a lot of people out there that love to take advantage of survivors of abuse, because we are so vulnerable. And the minute somebody says something nice to us, or so it makes us feel good for a couple of minutes, we're hooked. Sadly enough. So get the information, and really, we'll look at some re-victimization stuff here. You can go to my my website, Born in Hell. I actually have all of my Blog Talk Radio shows listed on audio lists. It's under the audio blog, and I have One Child Abuse Survivor to Another, Child Abuse Prevention. All of that stuff is there, listed really nicely. With the links, so that you can, if you wanted to actually see. I did whole sections on re-victimization and stuff like that, so years ago. So if you want to check that out, it's very important. Get the information. Learn how to protect yourself from that, right? You don't want to be re-victimized. That's terrible. Self-care, what can we do, or what am I doing physically, spiritually, emotionally to care for myself? I'm doing really quite good. We're not going to have time to pick up this next section I want to look at. We'll have to do that Monday, which is, it's from Hovoka, Information for Survivors. It's called Attitudes. You can go to that website and take a look at this. This is really quite interesting. It's under the Survivor section, under the title of Attitudes. And so you can do that if you want to over the weekend, and we'll pick this up Monday morning. We're out of time here this morning. I would say if you're struggling and having a hard time, we got about a minute left, you make sure you get some help. Do not suffer on your own. You certainly did not deserve this, and nobody does. Make sure you get some help, Don't struggle on your own, suffering on your own. That's what I did to the age of 42, and I thought I couldn't handle it, and I really wasn't doing well, and had issues with suicidal ideation and self-injury, self-harm. So, I'm so glad that I reached out to somebody. I started reaching out to survivors of abuse, other survivors, and then I went on an anonymous survivors website, which was great. I really got to talk. I got to, for the first time, talk to people who had been through some similar things as myself, because I opened up. See. And so once that happened, it was just opened the door for me for healing and for, to get on my healing journey. So make sure you're not struggling on your own. And if you don't trust people, if you don't trust that sort of thing, get a counselor, a therapist, whatever you have to do. Call a crisis line. Just do something and get yourself some help, and do not struggle on your own, right? So until Monday, I hope you have a great weekend. Take good care of yourselves. Be good and kind to yourself. And have fun. Enjoy, and until next time, we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
A few things to know before you fly WestJet to Nashville. You don't need cowboy boots to have a great time in Nashville. You don't need a cowboy hat either. You don't even need to be a country music fan. To have a great time in Nashville, you just need to go to Nashville. WestJet can certainly help with that, with great low WestJet fares nonstop from Calgary to Nashville. Visit westjet.com or call your travel agent.